Are you feeling happy? Are you happy? Are you satisfied in your life?
We certainly hope you are. However, if you are detecting that you might be able to have a better life if it wasn't because of something that you repeatedly do all the time.
Yeah, if it wasn't for your own self-sabotage. As if it wasn't for you yourself getting in your own way.
Yes.
To put it like that.
Well, yes, that exactly it. It's self.
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
Yes, you're getting in your own way. So wouldn't it be lovely not to do that?
Not to. So listen to this week's episode on
Get Real with the English Sisters.
Mind, Health and Anxiety. We are therapists and we're here to help you. So we hope that after listening you'll feel a lot better and calmer.
Yes. And that you may become aware of some of your habitual patterns that you do that actually stop you from getting to where you want to go.
The self-sabotage, just like when you're supposed to be going for that walk and you don't go and then you feel bad. And you go and eat a tub of ice cream or something.
Goodness me, very classical example. You do exactly the opposite of what you know is good for you. And you go straight for something that's going to provide immediate comfort without, going for that walk is going to provide comfort, but it's
seems a bit more out of reach, doesn't it?
It does seem a bit more out of reach, yeah. The way to avoid behaviours like this is obviously not to have that tub of ice cream in the first place in the freezer.
Or to
and
go
substitute
for a
it
walk to get the ice cream.
Exactly. Well, then yes, that's a good idea as well. Saying no, I'll have the ice cream if I actually go and get it at the gelato. Yeah, we're here in Italy and we're lucky to have these
to
lovely.
Go and get the ice cream after walking for an hour.
I actually do that because with my husband, he always says, let's just buy it. You can go to these lovely ice cream places where they make the gelato and it's healthy because it's lovely. But obviously, if you're going to eat gelato every day, you're going to put on
especially in the summer.
Yeah, you're going to put on weight, obviously. So if you want to avoid that, I say to him, let's not just have gelato in the freezer. We only get gelato when we actually physically go there and we have it, with the lovely cone and everything, with the whole thing, the whole experience. Because for me, that's more important than just eating gelato while I'm watching television.
Well, you would never do that, would you? Just mindlessly eating.
No.
It'd be a mindful experience.
Yes, exactly. But that's what he would probably love. To just say, all right, let's just have it. But it'd be a way of self-sabotage.
No. Then he would be eating it.
Then he'd probably say, oh no, I put on quite a lot of weight. He'd be moaning.
And he wouldn't be happy.
No, it would be a way of self-sabotaging. So you can avoid... Once you learn and recognise your patterns,
it seems so obvious, doesn't it? It seems like, why do we have to even say this?
Yeah, I know. It seems ridiculous. But it's important to say it because I think a lot of us get overwhelmed and we get caught up in our own repetitive patterns that we think are going to provide comfort. That's why we self-sabotage in the first place, because we think... we're looking out for ourselves, aren't we? We're thinking, I'll do that. And I sort of like, look out for myself. When I fancy some ice cream, I'll have it there, And a lot of, this is a funny example, but it's such a common one. That's why we're talking about it. Because you self-sabotage all the same. You say, I want to eat healthy. And then you stock up the pantry with, all sweets and salty snacks. Yeah, not good for you. And you fine well know it. So when you're going to get the food, stock up on other things that if you're tempted, you're going to have a blueberry or something. That's what I do. When I know I might save the snacks and the really treats for the weekend, but I know that I'll be able to follow more or less an 80 to 20 balance. So 80% of the week I'm going to be eating healthy, good foods,
That
and then
nourish you.
that nourish me and make me feel good.
That make you feel happy.
Yeah, well, they make me feel happy because I know that's part of my self-care as well. I'm looking after my body, making sure I'm getting the right foods. And, it does sound obvious.
That's obvious, but it's not so obvious when you're in it.
When you're self-sabotaging,
So when you're
not
living
aware
that
of it.
story, you don't think of it consciously. Once it becomes conscious and you become aware of it, you can say, "Oh, well, okay, today I'm going to choose to self-sabotage and not feel so happy after I've eaten the big tub of ice cream. Or I'm going to choose to go for that lovely walk in the park or for a walk in the rain or whatever, or run."
In the rain, I don't like that.
Yeah, I know you don't
Well,
like it,
whatever,
but then
yeah.
afterwards, when you get back, anyone that's been for a long walk knows how good it feels.
Yeah, it does feel good.
So you
Yeah.
can collect that experience.
Yeah, definitely. And then you feel as if
And
you
remind yourself of that experience.
your self-esteem grows because you've gone against your natural instinct, which was that instinct to go for the ice cream and sit on the couch, but no, you've gone against it. So in a way, you're, instead of self-sabotage, you're self-caring for yourself.
You're self-caring, and you've gone away that whisper in your head which says, go, that little devil voice which says, go for the snacks, go for the stuff that's not healthy, stuff yourself with that, and then you're going to feel awful.
You're going to feel bad afterwards.
You've gone against that. Obviously, if you're having treats like what Yudka said once a week, and you're celebrating a birthday,
we're talking about everyday.
We're talking about
habits.
everyday habits and everyday happiness, that things that don't make you feel so happy. Because first of all, if you're not nourishing your body, you're not going to feel as good.
No.
Are you?
No. And often there's that sense of guilt that comes with it.
Is that what you said? You're not taking care of yourself.
You're not really taking care of yourself if you're doing that. And one thing is to be doing it consciously and saying, no, I'm going to eat this and that's okay. I'm going to do it and I'm going to fully enjoy it. Half the time you don't even enjoy it because the guilt starts coming in. So there are things you can do to help yourself, practical things like not having it. That's so obvious, but yes, don't do it. Do what we do. Go out and get that ice cream and you have to physically make the effort. Or like once I remembered hearing, if you want crisps, make them yourself. Yeah. Like, who's going to go to the bother of making, but it's so much easier. You just open this bag, but you make the effort and you say, no, if I want things that I know are going to be like on the treat list, then I'll make them.
As a treat.
And I enjoy the process. I'll make them or I'll eat them every now and again.
Yeah. That also makes me think about, like, if you're going to have like a fight or an argument with your partner, if you think about it in cold blood and you think, right, now he or she or they are coming home and I'm going to have a big fight with them now. Yeah, I mean, it would probably put you off having the fight, wouldn't it?
If you think about it.
Well, you think about it logically. I'm going to have a big fight now and I'm going to start shouting and screaming or whatever you do. And I'm going to go in a huff. You can look at the situation a bit calmer. Is that what they say? Never send that email when you're furious. Wait.
Right, yeah. So you think even if something really annoyed you about your partner,
because
sort of process it and
because can you imagine if you're constantly like having arguments or fights with your partner, is that going to make you feel happy?
Well, no. But then what if there is something you want to discuss with your partner? How would you do it instead of self-sabotaging your whole evening and ruining your evening as well? Because you're not only going to be ruining your partner's evening, you're going to be ruining your evening.
If you lash out.
Yeah. Well, what do you suggest?
Well, I suggest that you don't lash out.
And you communicate in a different way.
And you communicate in a proper way that's more helpful to you and to them. So if something's been bothering you, just gently say, look, can we have a little chat about this? You left the toilet seat up again. And
oh, it's about the toilet seat.
That really
Silly things
hurts
like
my
that, but
feelings. No,
yeah.
obviously that's just a metaphor.
No, it's a
analogy,
metaphor,
isn't
but
it?
I can tell you
But
that
like
can get
you
annoying.
didn't do the dishes when I asked you to, and you know how
Yes.
tired I am, and then you can start maybe shout, oh, you didn't take care of this or take care of that. If you say it in a way that's more productive, look, hey, when you didn't do this, it made me feel like you don't value my opinion, you don't listen to me. I felt really hurt and I was really sad about it. And can we have a little chat about this and maybe, work together to cooperate more in the
Yeah.
house?
Well, that's the ideal situation. I do think that if you are one of those people that do sabotage your own happiness by constantly picking fights and
You
arguments.
do pig fights on purpose.
Yes, and so you have to think, why do I do this?
Yeah, exactly.
Because what kind of anger do I have built up inside me already to want to do this in the first place, that afterwards I might end up and go off crying and be upset or get really, it's not good. It's not to your advantage. So I think if you can think about, if you do self-sabotage in that way, where you are constantly arguing and fighting with other people and having these mega discussions that make you feel miserable, there are things I think you have to look inside and wonder why.
As therapists, we know how many people break up over things that we would consider
Minor.
minor things that could easily be fixed. And basically, it's because they're sabotaging their own relationships, basically, like some of our clients, because they don't feel that they are actually self-worthy enough to be in a relationship. So in order to break it up, they'll like pick fights, they'll look for silly things that aren't really that important if you take them from an adult perspective, where you both talk about things calmly and you talk about your feelings calmly, and what affects you and what doesn't. A lot of the times the people aren't even aware of it. Your partner just might be saying, what's going on? Oh no, they're picking another fight. God.
Yeah, it can become really
draining.
boring and draining for the person that's living with someone, and that the root of it is lack of self-esteem. So that's why, if you don't eat that tub of ice cream and you take preventative measures in the first place, then you might not feel so bad. In the end, it's a whole loop, isn't it?
As always, most of the times when someone comes to us for therapy, it's not really the thing they come to us about.
No.
Underneath, there's always underlying causes.
And most of it is self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Because of low self-esteem, because of low self-worth, whatever you want to call it, bad childhood experiences, past trauma, or the relationships with other people that have made you feel less than enough. And so you have to work on yourself, don't you? You have to work on understanding why do I always do this? Why do I always pick the wrong person? Is that person really wrong, or is it me? This is a village story once again.
The villager story about the villager that went from one village to the next, and he kept saying, there's something wrong with this village. People are horrible here. I don't like the work here. I don't like the housing here, whatever. Everything was wrong. But every time he moved and went to the new village, he found the same situation.
And all the people that had lived in those villages would say, really? Well, I found that was weird because I thought they were really nice there.
Yeah. So basically, the villager was the problem. So the villager was self-sabotaging his own happiness by taking his unhappiness, basically, his
with
own
him,
lack of self-worth and everything, without maybe realizing it, that he was doing that.
He definitely did not realize it. No, in this story, he doesn't realize it, and that's sad. And it may be that you are with the wrong person; they're not right for you.
Exactly.
But isn't it odd to think, how you see some couples when they split up from one person and they go with another one and they're completely different.
Yeah.
Or the other person can see things that you couldn't see. So maybe it you aren't the right match, like what they say, and you're not compatible with each other. But make sure that it's not you that, for some strange reason, or not strange, for reasons that we, their underlying causes, they're not strange at all, really, if you think about them. They're underlying causes that are making you self-sabotage your relationships because of your own fear. You're frightened. A lot of people are frightened of success as well, and they sabotage.
They do sabotage.
In business,
they get to a certain level and they stop.
They stop. They're frightened of it because that's not for them. They're not supposed to. Where they came from, they didn't expect to get to that level, and you stop. You stop. You don't. You stop. You stop acting as if you can go ahead. You become, afraid, like a turtle stick its neck in. That's it.
You close yourself off.
You close yourself off, and you don't get to where you could be. Where probably some part of you knows that you could be there. Knows that you could live a better life. I think we all have to think about that a little bit. How much self-sabotaging do we all do?
Is so overrated because they say, happy. But if you feel calm and you feel that you're doing your best, I think that's happiness, isn't it? You're doing your best. You feel calm. You feel in the moment. You're mindful of those around you. You're doing your best to be the best version of yourself. And you also are aware of what's missing, like what you're doing that could be causing this self-sabotage.
I think already if you're aware of the fact that you are self-sabotaging, then you're already you're self-sabotaging yourself. That's something that's an ongoing process. It's not something you may do once. It's the infinitive of the verb, isn't it?
The
It
toilet
continues.
seat example,
It's
for instance.
continued.
If it's something that really bothers you and your partner doesn't acknowledge that it bothers you and they forget and they keep doing it, you can also reframe it and say how lucky you are to have a partner that's there, because they might not be there in the future. You might not have a partner. Or you can think, what do I do that could bother them?
That's annoying.
That's annoying. Like maybe you leave your clothes all over the place.
Or your makeup all over the bathroom.
Like we do.
That's what I was thinking.
You might be doing something that really bothers them, but they just turn a blind eye to it, or they're not really that bothered because maybe in life it's not that important. You can put the toilet seat down. So you really have to think, is it really worth sabotaging the relationship over these little bickering things that could be easily resolved? Is it worth it? If someone that I had more respect for did that, would I look at it in a different way? What I mean?
That's
you
so
have
true.
to think, you have to really value the situation. Obviously, if you really think that your partner's doing it on purpose to spite you, then that's not nice. And then maybe you are with the wrong person.
Most of the time
most of the time they're not.
No.
So if you really think that is the case, obviously you're with the wrong person that doesn't really care about you that much, doesn't really care about your feelings, and maybe you should invest more self-esteem in yourself and say, look, I'm going to look for something better.
Something that's going to be a better match for me.
I'm worth more than this.
Yeah, definitely. In the case of personal relationships, I think so. Reminded me of that other story once. I think another therapist said it that about the kitchen cabinets always being open. I think it was a wife that always would leave all the kitchen cabinets open, which I do that sometimes as well. And the husband would say, I just can't stand it anymore. She won't close those cabinets. She won't close the cabinets. And then the therapist said, why don't you take the open cabinets as an idea that your wife would perhaps...
No, the
as
story
the open bedroom door, was it something like that?
But you tell your wife that every time she leaves the cabinet door open, that she's open to intimacy.
Tonight,
and then they had a big laugh about it, obviously, and they worked on it together. And so then the wife was more careful to close the cabinets when she wasn't interested.
She thought, if I leave the cabinet,
and if they did leave it open, they'd have a big jolly good laugh about it.
So that's a humorous way of resolving a problem. I thought that was a very clever way of dealing with it, because there was a whole refrain going on. Not only was the husband really happy when he saw a cabinet door open, but it also became like this big joke, and she would be careful to close them. So there's lots of little clever ways you can deal with things like that if they're
Yeah.
just getting on your nerves. I think here we're talking more about actual self-sabotage in so many
But I
different
think it just
things. Like
starts, it does start from the minor things, though.
it does, but
Does.
that's
It's the
already
little
like
things.
you might want a relationship, but you keep, every time you meet somebody, you say they're not quite right. They're not quite right.
Or
What are
they
you
don't
doing?
look the way you expect them to look.
Yes, you're looking for something and you can't find it, and you just find yourself, I don't know, swiping or going on many different dates, and nobody's quite right for you. What's going on there?
Well, you haven't
Why?
first of all, you've got the idea of someone in your head that doesn't exist. And then you're not giving that person the chance, the time of day to actually see if you are, if you are the right person for
Yeah.
each other.
Exactly. You're not giving that person, you're not
You're
giving yourself.
self-sabotaging.
You are self sabotaging. You are indeed. There's something not quite right about that person. You actually physically meet, and then you think, oh God, no, it's something that you think is weird or something. Maybe, ask yourself, am I just self sabotaging again? What do I need to do in order to put a stop to this? You have to think very.
Am I actually giving the person a chance?
I'm actually giving myself a chance more than the person. What you're doing is when
That's a good
you're
point.
not giving yourself a chance for happiness. You're putting it's you're turning on the red light any chance you can get. Why? Because ultimately there's the root cause is you don't think you deserve to be happy. Whether at work, at home, whatever it is, there's something that says, I do not deserve to be happy. Or something that makes you think that while you're in that fearful position, you're safe. That's another big thing, isn't it? While you're in fear, then you're safe.
You're protecting yourself.
Yeah, because that's what you know. So it's your comfort place. To be frightened, to be miserable, to be unhappy is what you've always known. So you won't allow yourself to experience good things. So that's why, the root cause is that. So I think once you understand that, right?
Well, once you understand it, you're on your way to happiness.
You're on your way, yeah. You're on your way to healing, I think, once you know that that's the root cause of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think. Are you self-sabotaging your happiness in some way, whether it's your health or your fitness or in the work that you do, in your career or in your relationships?
Yeah.
Let us know. And do you know what? That turning it around and just doing the opposite of what you would normally do is a good way of reversing.
Yeah, definitely.
Reversing
Really
the
quickly.
habits really
Say, oh,
quickly.
hey, I always do this, so let me do this instead. I always say no, not going on a second date. Let me try.
Yeah.
Maybe it's me that's self-sabotaging, or maybe it's me that, whatever it is.
Let us
Definitely.
know. Please do watch the video on YouTube and come and say hi. And wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you're listening, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever, let us know. Send us a message, send us a text, and come and say hi. We love hearing from you. We really do. Bye-bye.
Bye.